Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. When you look at American gun companies, there are names that stand out. There are, some names just go, wow, yeah, that's one of the great American gun companies. And one of those that has its own iconic brand is Weatherby. And to say that today's Weatherby is not your grandfather's is not even close. It is so, so true. We're joined now by Luke Thorkildsen from Weatherby. And Luke, you guys have been putting out announcements over the last few weeks. It's like one after another of the new things you've been doing. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
We've
been real busy.
You have. Let me start off this way. For the marketing guy, it seems to me that one of the challenges that you have at Weatherby is not that you have a lot of new stuff, it's that people remember what Weatherby always was. And then I just went and looked. It's been 31 years since I wrote and published the book about Roy Weatherby and the history of the company 31 years ago. And the Weatherby of 31 years ago, that company, you wouldn't even recognize the company of today, would you?
I didn't realize you wrote that book when you were 9.
Boy, I wish. Thank you so much for that.
No, it's our move to Wyoming 4 years ago was kind of what we started calling Weatherby 2.0. Mm-hmm. It's the people that we have here at Weatherby now, the flexibility that we have, the amount of processes that we've brought in-house since leaving California, moving to Wyoming, has really just been an enormous springboard for Weatherby 2.0.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at, for a lot of folks, when they get gray hair, they're thinking, yeah, I know Weatherby. It's that shiny California stock. Yeah. They're heavy. It's the Mark V. It's a great action, but it's all proprietary cartridges, yada, yada, all the stuff you've heard. And it's hard to get people to change their thinking if that's what Weatherby is. And then when you look, if you go to the website right now, weatherby.com, you go, holy cow, look what you guys have been doing over the last few years.
Yeah. We do still have that high gloss bluing. We've got the really nice California Clara walnut stocks on our Mark V Deluxe. That's still there, but it's a fraction of what, from a percentage of our business of what it used to be. And to your point, we've really modernized a lot of things. The same year that we moved out of California to Wyoming, when we launched our initial Mark V backcountry rifle, was really like the jumping off point for us. And I think now over the last 4 years from that point, we've really just doubled down on what's been really successful for us, which is really lightweight backcountry models in the Mark V. And then we just introduced this new model 307.
All right. Well, let me before we get to the 307, let me just mention, for those who haven't looked at it, when you look at something like the Mark V Backcountry 2.0 Ti, you're looking at a 5-ish pound rifle from Weatherby. That's what the barrel used to weigh. And it's got all the latest, greatest techniques. Everything for the modern hunter is there. And yeah, that's what I guess I should add, that's what I hunted with last year, a left-handed Backcountry Ti in 257 Weatherby, and it may be light, but that thing is a stone cold shooter, man. That thing just shoots little bitty groups like crazy, and it performs. So, I mean, you guys are really, I never thought I'd say this, you're on the cutting edge of rifle technology and advancements these days.
Yeah, that gun that you have, that Backcountry 2.0 Ti, it uses our sister company, Peak 44. We started making our own carbon fiber stocks in-house through this second company, Peak 44, and it uses a 3D printed recoil pad. And we did that because we wanted a recoil pad that like dramatically reduced recoil. A muzzle brake helps even more, but if you can attack it from your shoulder at the recoil pad, that thing is meant to collapse slowly. So when you first feel it, it feels stiff, and you're like, this doesn't feel like a really soft Packmeyer pad would.
Right.
But through our testing, we found that it was kind of opposite. If you could spread the recoil out over more time with a stiffer pad, it led to less felt recoil, less peak recoil. On the really soft pads with a big Magnum cartridge, what happens is you just take the squish up out of the pad real fast, and it's almost as if you're holding the gun a little off your shoulder. We've all done that on accident before, and you kind of just get hit extra hard.
Sure.
It takes that part out of it with that recoil pad on the backcountry, and it legitimately works.
I mean, it's amazing. It's a lightweight rifle that doesn't kick a lot, and it's available in all these calibers. Let's do this. Let's talk about the new stuff. What's the new rifle?
The new rifle is our Model 307, and for those that don't know, 307 is the singular area code for the entire state of Wyoming and all 550,000 of its residents. So we started, that was the code name. You know, a lot of time projects have code names until they get an official name, and we just all fell in love with the code name so much that we're like, you know what, I think we're just going to leave this the way it is. So that's where the name came from. But what it is, it's essentially our take on a 700 action. So there's some unique things about it that I think make it unique to Weatherby. There's the bolt release is really high on the stock line. You have to look at the video on the website, but it's a 3-piece bolt with a tool-free bolt takedown. So you can take the bolt handle out and remove the firing pin 1 second. It's super easy.
Wow.
You can reinstall it just as fast. It's a Trigger Tech trigger. There's 2 models that we launched with. The Range XP uses metal, and for those that don't know, Magpul is manufactured here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And so there's a Wyoming collaboration there, and but it's a standard Remington 700 style recoil lug, and so pretty much all Remington 700 accessories are going to fit with this. So we were just talking about the Mark V action. You don't really need to do a lot with that, but for the guys that want to tinker and play or into PRS or I call it bolt action Legos. The Mark V is not the best starting point for that.
You're right.
It's a
I understand that.
Action. The 9 locking lugs for people that want to try to blueprint on their own or to do a new bolt, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So this new model 307 is meant really fill the hole in for Weatherby for reaching. So it's a whole new market segment for us that we're really excited about. And since we launched that at the end of June, it's been very, very well received. So we're very excited about that. The other model is the Alpine MDT. It comes with the MDT Hunt 26 chassis with a folding buttstock. And man, that thing is just it's really nice. For the Range XP, the retail is like $1,100, and you get all the features.
It's just terrific. And doing that on the Remington 700 footprint, that's just brilliant. And I am absolutely stealing your bolt action Legos idea. That is great.
The AR guys have been doing it for a long time, so.
Well, exactly right. And you being one of these extreme fitness, running through the backcountry kind of guys, these kind of rifles with folding stocks and lightweight and all of that really appeals to the way that you go. Yeah,
it does. The lightweight's huge, but often on a Magnum rifle caliber that you want to be hunting with, you're kind of stuck with a 26, 24 on the short side, maybe a 22-inch barrel, which is still pretty long. And I love running a suppressor. So being able to fold the buttstock and save almost 10 inches is huge, just to be able to hike through the trees quickly and not have a big pole sticking up above your pack that's catching everything.
Oh, exactly. And you don't appreciate it until you try it. And you're going, man, I can't. Like every time you bend over to try to get under a bush, your barrel gets stuck on it, and it's like, oh man. So
Yep.
This is the kind of part of this. I'm going to mention this. Development of these kind of products at Weatherby comes from the fact that a lot of the folks at Weatherby are shooters and hunters, and not just people who make widgets.
For sure. Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I get to lead our sales, marketing, and product development teams. Engineering's a separate team, but we've got some phenomenal engineers that help create our kind of crazy ideas. So you don't get to see the real crazy ones because they never make it. But we've always got something cooking, and sometimes it's to fill an area of capacity that, hey, we've got this ability. What can we use it for?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's just like, hey, we've got this idea. What if? And we just have a great team. Again, the move to Wyoming's been enormous for us, and being able to be able to pull that off.
Well, it's got two things going for it. One, it's Wyoming. Two, it's not California. So there you go.
Absolutely. Like one of the most tax-friendly states versus one of the least tax-friendly states. So,
yeah,
the only trade-off negative is the weather. This last winter was brutal.
Tell me about it. I was trying to drive across I-80, went from Denver up to Cheyenne, and it was I-80 was closed. You could not drive it. Had to drop back down to Denver and go 70 to get across. When the weather kicks up in Wyoming, it's serious.
It is serious. There's no doubt.
Okay, so we got the new rifles, and it just saw an announcement for a new shotgun?
Yes.
What's that?
So we've been working on a side-by-side shotgun for a little while, and we just announced it literally last week. So we had a side-by-side in our lineup many years ago. Mm-hmm. Probably about the time when you wrote that book.
Right.
And it dropped out of our line. The first supplier that we were using, I don't remember. I think they just kind of went out of business, and so we never found one that we really fell in love with again. And we started talking about it a couple years ago, and we went on the search, and we found some that were close, and then we ended up selecting a manufacturer in Turkey. And then we made quite a few tweaks of our own, and what we wanted was a very simple side-by-side shotgun. I think the people that like to hunt with a side-by-side, primarily upland guys, they want something that they just know is going to work and potentially last forever. So what we did is, instead of ejectors, we just have lifters. Instead of a single trigger, we've got a double trigger. So there's no trigger reset mechanism inside the trigger, and it's just an incredibly simple system. We kept it as a straight English stock, and then on the foregrip, it's a traditional splinter, very small foregrip.
Oh, nice.
So it's a very minimalistic design, but we've did a ton of testing, and one of the only things when you look at it, you're like, man, that thing is super sleek and very classy, but it's got extended chokes. Why are there extended chokes? So through our development and our patterning of all the different choke systems, we found that, especially with steel shot, and there's some areas that require that even for upland hunting now.
Right.
It patterns substantially better if you had a longer parallel portion in the shotgun choke itself. So
Gotcha.
If you go past the constriction portion of a choke and then have a parallel for a while, we got much better pattern with steel shot, because it doesn't compress like lead does,
Right.
And so that's been like, why'd y'all do extended chokes on this classic looking gun? We're like, well, because it's better. That's why.
It performs better. Yeah. What's it called?
Yeah. It is the Orion side-by-side. So we've had our Orion over-under in the line for quite a while, and it's kind of a similar price point. They're right at around $1,100, and you get really nice-looking wood, walnut, and like I said, very, very simple features, but that's a gun that's going to last a very, very long time.
What's it going to cost?
$1,100.
Jeez, that's a steal. That's terrific. All right, at the time I got left, which is not very much, you guys just announced Weatherby ammo has always been renowned for being very good ammo, and now you're making factory ammo that's not for Weatherby cartridges. You're making it for standard cartridges. What's that about?
Yep. I can get real geeky on this, Tom. So if I get too far in the weeds, you stop me, okay? But we found that we got pretty good at loading Weatherby cartridges over the last 4 years. Again, since our move to Wyoming, we brought a lot of processes in-house. We really focused on our ammo department. Through the pandemic, some weird things happened. Historically, people were kind of shy away from Weatherby cartridges, thinking, man, if it hits the fan, I'm not going to be able to get Weatherby because it's just so niche.
Sure.
And it was actually the opposite. You could get 308 and you could get some Creedmoor, but it became really hard to get Magnum hunting cartridges through the pandemic because the big guys were focused on running more military-style cartridges because they could just sell the snot out of those.
Right.
And Weatherby was solely focused on our stuff. And so we had dealers that were buying more guns from us because, hey, all I can get is your ammo from a hunting perspective right now. And so we really upped our loading through the pandemic as things have slowed down a little since we're mostly through that. Mm-hmm. We started thinking about, okay, we've got this capacity, we've got these machines, they can do other things, and our extreme spreads and standard deviations are super, super good. We were playing with a box of factory ammo at a writers event a couple weeks ago, and we were measuring each shot velocity. Mm-hmm. We had an extreme spread of like 12 feet per second across 20 rounds.
Holy cow.
And that's not like we didn't do anything special. We just pulled one of those boxes off the shelf, right?
And let me jump in for the folks who don't understand how much that matters. That's all about accuracy. When you got extreme spreads that are low, when you got standard deviations that are low, you end up with more accurate ammo. But look, I'm going to have to fast forward us to this. You're using hammer bullets, and people online are talking about hammer bullets, but a lot of people don't know what they are, don't know anything about them. Give me the 30-second version. It's a monolithic bullet. Why are you doing that? What are they doing for you?
So they're the most accurate bullets that Weatherby has ever played with. It is a monolithic, solid copper, lathe-turned bullet. So most of the copper bullets out there are going to be swaged or forged in some way. Mm-hmm. These are individually turned on a Swiss lathe, so the consistency is off the chart, which leads to really good accuracy. So in this non-Weatherby SKUs that we're starting to load, we're using the hammer bullets. We're using a Swift Sirocco and then a Berger Elite Hunter. So all premium hunting bullets, mm-hmm. and also bullets that aren't loaded by anybody else that's loading 6.5 PRC, any of the PRCs, 28 Nosler or that 280 Ackley. So we went after areas where we think we can be competitive in what resonates with Weatherby, which is really good hunting performance. You're probably not going to see us loading 308. We're not going to do that.
Yeah,
we probably will load some other hunting type cartridges, but we can be competitive with premium bullets there.
There you go. Luke, again, thank you so much for your time, and we had a lot of room or ground to cover, and we got all that in. I want to direct people weatherby.com, take a look at it. It is the new Weatherby. Shotguns, rifles, ammo. It's amazing what you guys are doing. Please keep us posted and come back anytime, okay?